What's going on? It's your boy SC Reaper, and we playing the Stanley Parable. Yo, let's go and get into this. So go ahead. Don't move out of the way. No, this game is like, I haven't seen it, so it is what it is.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Yep, that's all that mattered. Stanley was happy. Okay. So you might have a problem here. I know I ain't tweaking. Okay, never mind. It's playing like it's supposed to. I was gonna say like it's like a. I thought it was just me. It was a border, like never mind. Don't matter. As long as y'all. Okay. They standing right. Alright. Can't open the door no more. Alright, what's going on there?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
See me, if I worked in a job and
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Alright. Look, alright, let me finish. Alright.
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort.
I'm gonna stand on top of the desk, bro. And I already know what's gonna happen if I stand on top of the desk. But I mean, like, it might not happen, so it's what it is.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I entered the door on the left?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Yeah, I did. I did. I wanted to stop here. I ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is just like...
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Look at this, look how.
Yes, really. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
First open door on my left. See, it'd be a shame to me if I didn't take the door on the left. It'd be a shame to me if I didn't. Yeah. See, I could take the door on the left, but like, there's a door open right here too. So, nope. I'm going through this though.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
I'm good at following directions. Yep. What is this? Need a key card for that door. Okay. So my question is,
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
Yeah.
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
No.
She's been waiting.
No. I said no.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
What's up? What's going on, bro?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Alright, so that's how you do?
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Bro, let me up out here. No.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands.
Bro.
It was wonderful.
Bro.
And each day that he returned
Bro.
to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Bro. Look. I ain't gonna capture you, bro.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job.
I gotta get
First,
out
he
here.
imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his
I think it
decisions
moved
would
fast,
mean
but it-
something was almost
Nope.
too wonderful
Hey,
to
Rob,
bear.
I'm like,
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths
Right.
and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and
like
mind
out.
controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions.
Yes.
And down another was a game with a baby.
Yes.
And he called it the Stanley Parable.
okay, bro. Nope, I don't wanna hit that button because you talking. Nope.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this. that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't.
Nope.
Not in the way I want him to.
Yep.
But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I...
Got to.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
To the left? Yep. Just had to make sure it might have changed.
Yet there was
Whoa.
not a single person here either.
Yeah.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Yeah. Nope. We only have one way to go. Yep.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Let's walk downstairs. I just want to see what happened about.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical star field, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Oh, okay. See, I feel like...
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Okay.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life.
None of this makes sense, but okay. Okay, so I didn't follow any direction. I'm gonna just...
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Me, this is giving off Portal vibes. Yep. Going down, slowly going down.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
I ain't gonna lie.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
I was gonna say that, but like, keep talking, bro. Talking for a minute, let me talk, bro.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Bro, what? Yo, that's a... Ooh, man, that is a far... Bro, if you fall down and you're dead. Don't come back from me. You're just dead. And that's it. Nobody can save you. Nobody can help you.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers.
Oh.
The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
I mean, we were in the woods, nobody can see you, could they? Nope. Ain't no electricity. Ain't no electricity, no cameras.
This mind-controlled facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
No. Squeeze through that. Man, I wish I could.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Oh. Yep. The power. Yep. Going down. Just long walk. I swear I'm just don't fall, boy. I'm done for. Power off. I should have cut it on. Wait a minute. I can't see.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Man, ain't no houses down, bro. This look boring.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.